Ukrainian Crisis Media Center started its work today, and now we would like to invite and give the floor to the Lieutenant Colonel Dmytro Hutsyliak, Ministry of Defense of Ukraine spokesperson. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to see you here. The Minister of Defense of Ukraine, General of Army of Ukraine Stepan Poltorak, met the Minister of National Defense of the Republic of Poland, Mr. Anton. The head of Ukrainian Defense Ministry congratulated his Polish counterpart with the appointment to this high office and accented that the Ukrainian party appreciates assistance of the Poland top management and Polish leaders and Polish civil population. This political, material, technical and medical support which the Poland provided to Ukraine is highly valued in Ukraine. Poland provides also medical treatment of severely wounded soldiers. The head of the Defense Ministry of Ukraine updated his Polish counterpart on the current situation in the east of Ukraine and near the borders of Ukraine. The Minister of the National Defense of the Republic of Poland expressed his interest to share the experience of the armed forces of Ukraine, which was gained in formation of territorial defense forces and in fighting in the modalities of the hybrid war. He accented that Ukraine is a strategic partner of the Republic of Poland and its absolute priority, since the security of Ukraine means the security of entire Europe. Upon the result of this meeting, the declaration was signed where the parties articulated all the issues and proposals which were raised during the meetings. Then, in the Cabinet of Ministers, the Ministers of Defense of Ukraine and Republic of Poland met the heads of defense ministers of the Baltic countries. The defense top managers discussed the prospects of cooperation development in the defense sphere. The foreign colleagues expressed their support and willingness further to support Ukrainian armed forces, providing material and technical assistance, training the soldiers, and providing also medical treatment to the injured soldiers. They also promised to support with reforming Ukrainian defense sector. The participants signed a joint declaration on the matters of cooperation in the defense area, outlining the lines of further cooperation between the defense agencies of the five countries. In Ukrainian higher educational institutions, the first in the history of armed forces of Ukraine, 3 months training courses for military men of the enlisted with higher educational civil background have finished the first course. The graduates will be entitled to hold officer positions and will be granted junior lieutenant rank. These training courses were organized to train military men with a higher educational background, because after the mobilizations waves there are very many such such military men with civil higher educations in the ranks of the armed forces of Ukraine now. According to the commanders, such military men as usually are highly motivated. Many of them have combat experience. After the graduation, the contract soldiers will return to their military units. The courses will operate on permanent basis. The state enterprises of Ukraine continue to supply to the armed forces of Ukraine new and modernized equipment and weaponry according to the State Defense Order for 2015. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine have already concluded 104 contracts and supplemental agreements with the governmental enterprises for a total amount nearly 5 billion hryvnias. This provided the opportunity to purchase 3,649 units of weapon and military equipment and 400,000 of ordnance and means of destruction, in particular 60 artillery cannons and armored weaponry, 625 television telescopic sights, 50 land-based radars, 640 units of small arms, 1,000 suppressors, 31 units of armored vehicles and machinery, including fighting vehicle BTR-4Es, 30 anti-tank missile systems, 602 units of road vehicles, including cars, road vehicles of various modifications, 19 modernized aircrafts and helicopters, and 28 units of radio electronic equipment to them, 5 UAVs, 442 means of engineering equipment, 307 means of topographic and geodetic and navigational support systems. And now I'm giving the floor to Mr. Major Anton Myronovych, ATO spokesman via Skype. First of all, I would like to say that during the previous day, the number of attacks in the ATO area from the part of Russia-backed militants were decreased. During the night of December 9, there were 11 attacks to provoke Ukrainian soldiers to return fire. The militants also launched anti-tank missiles towards our positions, but all the attempts of the insurgents to provoke Ukrainian forces were in vain. The situation in ATO area remained tense. During previous 3 days, precision and non-precision fire on the Ukrainian army positions decreased relatively. For example, on Saturday, December 14, the intensive fire on Ukrainian positions near Troitsky in Mariupol sector. There were heavy machine gun fire and also armored vehicle weaponry. This was registered also fire near Gorlivka and Zaitsevo. The militants also conducted armed provocations on Sunday. They used 82 millimeter mortars, and once they used 122 millimeter mortars. The most shells were on Krasnogorivka. Yesterday, the militants did not use the artillery cannons, but in Lugansk region, they opened fire again again, in contrast to the previous days when the situation in Lugansk region was calm. I should say that the hybrid illegal military formations proceed to use grenade launchers, heavy machine guns and small arms all over along the entire front line. During previous 3 days, a total of 120 attacks on 80 Ukrainian positions. On Saturday, there were 51 attacks. On Sunday, 49. The lowest number of shellings was yesterday. There were only 18 attacks. So we can speak of the decreasing trend with the fire incidents and ceasefire violations on the part of insurgents. Several times UAVs flights were recorded. The reconnaissance UAVs could be collecting the information about the locations of Ukrainian armed forces and troops. Also, the number of shellings and ceasefire violations decreased. This does not prove that pro-Russian militants are going to keep peace. After the relative truce, they can stir up their activities and hostilities even more. The situation remains tense. However, I would like to accent that the top leaders of ATO armed forces keep control over the situation near the front line. And I should also add that the decrease in the number of hostilities is used to restore the defensive capacity of our armed forces, and also to restore the civil infrastructure and deliver humanitarian aid to civil population. So far, that's all information. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Mr. Myronovych. Thank you, Mr. Hutsyliak. Dear colleagues, do you have any questions? We have no questions, so thank you very much, Mr. Hutsyliak and Mr. Myronovych. We will listen to you next time, this Saturday. The next briefing today will be at 10 o'clock a.m.